Hi, this is the rider review with a Heels Down, the Deadly Sins of Riding, I believe it is, tag. It's their June tag. And if you're not familiar with it, there's a couple of tags going around YouTube that just kind of, it's like a question and you discuss it and you like tag people in it. And I actually never ever done a tag video. I mean, I like them and they're pretty interesting and stuff. But this one I thought was actually like really beneficial. I mean, most of their topics are actually really, really good. But this one I think is going to help me. So I went ahead and added myself to the tag. So I watched Lauren McKinnon's new channel, and she had this tag on here. And basically the way she did her video was she talked about what are some bad habits in her riding, and then, you know, bad habits as far as, you know, just horse chores in general and things like that. So I have a few of each, and with my riding, I don't even know where to start. I have so many bad habits. I owned a horse in junior high, and I was the only horsey person in my family, and so my parents didn't know anything. We didn't have money for lessons, nothing. So basically, like, the whole goal of riding was don't fall off. And sometimes I did that and sometimes I didn't. Never in a bad way. I've never had like a horrible wreck, like knock on wood. But, you know, I've definitely come off, but, you know, it's been in soft places or, you know, nothing life-threatening or anything like that as well. So I've been very fortunate that way. But not until recently, the last couple years, you know, I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't even know what diagonals were. I mean, and then, you know, once I learned about diagonals, then they were like, okay, you need collection. And I'm like, what is collection? And even though I've been working on it for maybe a year and a half on the ideal, on the concept, when to recognize it, you know, I honestly still don't know what it is. Like, because there's so many people that are like, okay, that horse is collected. No, you know, or your horse's head's down, he's collected, or, you know, he's either past the vertical or, you know, too much into the, he's like before the vertical, past the vertical, he's nosed out, or it's all in their footsteps. I mean, it's a little overwhelming. So, you know, technical riding and good equitation, that has just not really been anything I knew about until recently. So that's why I have so many of these. So let's get started. The number one thing that bothers me the most is my chair seat. I don't have awful chair seat, but it looks awful to me. Like, the very few videos that I have me watching, I can start to see my toe kind of start edging out, and it makes me cringe so bad. I hate it. It makes my riding look awful. Basically, and so that really bothers me, and hopefully this is helpful to you. I read somewhere, I can't remember, but if you look down at your knee and you see your toe start to come past your knee, then you need to pull your feet back in. And, you know, I admit it, when I first pulled my feet back in, it did not feel good. It did not feel comfortable. Like, the muscles were like not there to ride in correct form. And so I had to definitely think about it. And then when I did pull my feet back, I mean, it felt like my body was falling forward. Now I think I've developed a little bit more muscle for that, and I feel like I don't have to correct myself as much. But it's kind of hard to tell because I don't have very many videos and pictures of me riding. But, you know, in just a general feel and being more aware of that's my problem, you know, I think I'm improving. I don't know. And then my next one is I don't have very strong legs. I constantly go to my rein aids. I mean, you know, I feel like putting my leg on the horse doesn't get me much anywhere, like especially for side passing or moving the shoulder over, or moving the haunches over, and so I automatically just start getting in their face, and that is not good for the horse. It's not good for your equitation. And so that's something that I really have to work on, is think leg first, stronger leg, then rein, stronger leg, and then rein, some more rein, something like that. It's just a thought process to like prompt myself, not to go to my leg all the time. And then another one is I sit well. I think it's just because in general I have okay posture. And I can watch other videos and look at other riders and be like, okay, this is how it's supposed to look, and I can kind of copy them, but not really probably have the feel that they're riding with, to like feel their horse underneath them, to feel them start drifting, or to feel their shoulder dropping in, or anything like that. That's definitely not there yet. I wish it was. But I can't remember where I was going with this. I really can't remember where I was going with this. I haven't developed that yet. Let's see here. I have chair seat. I go to my reins. I don't use my legs. Okay, here we go. So, and I go to a few small schooling shows, which the classes are not very big. I mean, probably 6 to 10 people in the class, and it's not like an A-rated show or anything like that. But I do okay in my equitation classes. I've placed first a couple of times and stuff like that. And so that makes me think that I look okay. But, if the horse and I ever disagree about, their headset, and we have a forceful disagreement, sometimes the horse can disagree with you and you correct it and they're like, oh, okay. But then there's other times when you go to correct the horse and they're like, I ain't doing that. And so when we get into that type of fight, that's when my equitation goes to crap. I start hunching forward. My head starts getting in front of myself if I'm trying to drive the horse up underneath. Sometimes I have to sit to school, so I lose my diagonal. My arms start coming way back here. It's just, it goes to pot really quickly. So, as long as things are going well between me and the horse, we do fine. But I would like to be able to work through a difficult situation without everything falling apart. That would be nice. And then, so those are some of my bad riding habits. Some of the things that I do around the barn that are bad, that I should be more attentive to, but I just don't think about it, or I'm just too tired to do, is I ride in my field boots in my lessons, and I also show in them, and I put them up dirty, and I put them up dirty for a long time. I'll put them in my boot bag with mud in them, and then I'll finally be like, oh, it's a show, and I'll run over and clean them off real quick and stuff. And so that can be good to take care of your field boots. So definitely don't do that, especially if you spend a lot of money on your boots. I mean, any investment. But I do, I have to admit. And then my saddle, I don't like to clean my saddle, just because my saddle is comfortable. I don't think it does a lot for my equitation, but it's a saddle I could afford, and so it's worked out okay. But the leather on it is dry and crackly, and no matter how much I condition it, it just stays that way, and it doesn't look like it soaks in and supples up. And so sometimes it's hard to do something when you know the end result is not really going to get you anywhere. So that's kind of my thought on it, why I'm a little reluctant to do it. Another one is, oh my goodness, this video is 8 minutes right now. It's crazy. Okay. Another one that I do is I'll get down on the floor with my horse while I'm working on her legs or something. I'll get down, kneel on one knee or something like that, and just be in a very bad position if something were to ever happen. It hasn't yet, knock on wood, and my horse is not super crazy, but she's definitely not, dead broke, or not dead broke, she's broke, but she can let stuff bother her. I mean, it's amazing what bothers her and what doesn't bother her. It's really kind of strange about it. You just never know. And it can put me in a precarious position, and just because something bad hasn't happened yet, I just feel you just you don't ever think about it until something bad happens. And so, that's something I need to be aware of, and especially if I do that habit with my horse, I'm more likely to do it with a lesson horse or a horse I don't know much about, just because it's become a habit, and that could be extremely dangerous because I know even less about those horses. And so that's something I should definitely work on. And then just until recently, I haven't been very to be aware of you're supposed to pick up your poop in the wash rack, which I think I've always done because you're washing a horse and you don't want him to step in poop, so because that'll just ruin your bathing job. So I moved that pretty quickly. But I did take a lesson at a more fancier, bigger barn, and my horse pooped in the groom stall, and I was almost done. I think I had the bridle on him and everything like that, and I was almost ready to go, and I was like, okay, I'll come back and do it when I get finished. And by the time I came back, somebody had already picked it up for me, and I felt really bad. And I think later at that barn, I read it on the wall, that's what you're supposed to do. So I felt really bad about that as well. And then just when you pick out your horse's hooves and you got hair, I try to remember at my the barn I take more lessons at to sweep that up. It's just helpful and makes the place look neater. So that's a habit that I'm trying to break and just be more aware of. And so when somebody does something like those pet peeves that everybody does, some people just either forget or just not aware that you do it, kind of, or that it's wrong or something. So, if you definitely see that situation, don't be too hard on people, but, definitely if it affects the safety of you and others and their horses, by all means, break it to them gently in a very productive, a productive, way. Don't be rude about it or anything. So hopefully this will help me with my riding and, just yours as well. Thanks. Bye.